Chief Landquist is online, and so is Renee. Do you see Renee on there? Not yet?
So promote Chief Landquist to panelist?
Yes. And also, if you see Renee.
Oh, Renee Mendez?
Mm-hmm.
They're both in?
They're both there?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Chief Landquist, and then Renee from the city. No, I don't think so. I think they're both off, right?
No, this one. Okay.
All right, it looks like the interpreters are connected and we're ready to go. I just want to welcome and thank everybody for joining us this evening in person and via Zoom. And we are also live streaming this as well. So I do want to acknowledge and thank Supervisor Church and other elected officials who may be joining by Zoom this evening, as well as some of our partners, including a representative from the Sheriff's Office, who I believe has joined us online. Can we please make the announcement for interpretation services, Marty?
Just a reminder to everyone, on the interpretation option, there is a little globe icon that you should see on your screen. It is defaulted to off. You can select the audio channel to hear the translated audio in Spanish, as well as the option to mute the original audio instead of hearing it in a lower volume with the Spanish translation.
No, that's for Zoom. That was for the folks on Zoom who needed interpretation. Thank you. Fabricio, did you already make the announcement here? Okay. Marty, are we good? Okay. So a few housekeeping items as we go ahead and get started. The restrooms are right outside the room and to the left. We also have water and snacks available outside, so please feel free to help yourself. You'll find the boards set up in the hallway out there, and we invite you to look at those at your leisure with the depictions of the various draft renderings that we will be sharing and reviewing again today. There's also a sign-in sheet, and we invite everyone to sign in. And if you'd like to join the email distribution list to receive updates on this project, there is a way to indicate that and a space to provide your email address as well. For those of you joining us by Zoom, we invite you to drop your information into the chat or Q&A. And please share your email if you would like to join our distribution list so that our team can take note of that. We will have staff monitoring the chat and Q&A throughout, so please feel free to use those features on Zoom. We do have some handouts available for those of you who are in person, and this presentation will be posted on our website as well as dropped into the chat at the end for those of you joining remotely. So our plan this evening is to meet until 8 o'clock will be our stop. and spend about the first 20, 25 minutes providing a general overview of the proposed project, reviewing some draft renderings to help illustrate the project so folks can better understand what is being proposed and what it could look like, as well as who it is designed to serve. Then really we just want to listen to all of you, hear what questions you have, your thoughts, and the feedback that you have for us. And to help ensure that everyone has the opportunity to speak if they would like, whether in person or via Zoom. We have set up the podium with the mic here today, and we'll be allotting 3 minutes per comment. And yes, folks are welcome to take turns and make more than one comment this evening. The use of the mic is key to ensuring everyone on Zoom and who's live streaming today can hear the conversation in the room. So if you'd like to make a comment or ask a question, please move to the mic in the room or raise your hand by Zoom. We will be taking turns. So if there's a hand raised by Zoom, we will be signaled from our staff who's monitoring the Zoom. And then we will take a question in the room and then alternate to questions via Zoom and continue in that fashion so everybody can be heard. We, again, would like to enable recording for our team's internal use only to help ensure that we are accurately capturing all the comments, questions, and feedback being provided, as we will be compiling all of this information from all of the listening sessions and bringing that information back to the Board of Supervisors on December 9th, and that's at 1:30 in the afternoon. Is there any objection to this being recorded? Marty, any comments on Zoom? Okay, if no objections, Marty, please go ahead and start the recording. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Melanie Rhodes. I am the Behavioral Health Bureau Chief for Monterey County Behavioral Health. And with me here tonight is our Health Services Director, Elsa Jimenez, and our Assistant Behavioral Health Bureau Chief, Fabricio Chombo. And now I will turn it over to Elsa to get us started.
So good evening. Thank you. Oh, I'll use this one. Good evening. As Melanie said, my name is Elsa Jimenez. And it's nice to see some familiar faces from our first listening session and to see new ones. So thank you for joining us this evening. We are going to present for about 25 minutes. We've added some additional content based on feedback we received at our previous learning session. If we can get the slides up to share.
Oh, I thought they were. There we go.
So this evening, we're going to provide an overview of the proposed project. We're going to share with you the benefits and challenges associated with constructing mental health rehabilitation centers. We're going to share with you some preliminary draft designs that have been constructed by our architectural and other experts in this area. And more importantly, we really want to hear your thoughts, your feedback regarding the county's plan to create mental health rehabilitation centers in the city of Salinas to support not only our residents, but also neighboring counties' residents who need this higher level of care. We're here to answer your questions. As Melanie said, we'll ask that each of you come up to the podium at the end. We'll limit you to 3 minutes, but if you see that nobody else is getting up, we invite you to come back for an additional 3 minutes. And with that, I'll hand it back to Melanie.
Thank you, Elsa. So what is a mental health rehabilitation center, or a MHRC? On the screen there is the definition from the Department of Healthcare Services, our regulatory body. But I really would like to invite you to think about mental health on a continuum. Mental health needs, behavioral health needs on a continuum with mild to moderate to severe, because it really falls along that continuum. And as county behavioral health, our mandate is to serve the severe end of that continuum. Our managed care plan here locally, Central California Alliance for Health, is tasked with the mild to moderate end of that continuum, and county behavioral health is the severe specialty mental health, severe end of that continuum, so the specialty mental health services. So for example, if I blew out my knee and I needed to see an orthopedist, that would be the specialist, right? I might go to my primary care doctor first and get a referral to the specialist. So using that kind of an analogy, county behavioral health is the specialist, so the specialty mental health provider. So we also are responsible for providing substance use disorder treatment and services. So wanted to provide a little bit of that overview. And then when we're thinking about mental health rehabilitation centers, it is a higher level of care than, say, voluntary outpatient treatment in the community. We have regional clinics across the county who see people on a voluntary basis walk in like an outpatient clinic. So a mental health rehabilitation center is a higher level of care placement, and it's really 24-hour supervised care and treatment. And MHRCs are who's eligible for to be placed in a mental health rehabilitation center. It would be our adult population, so they are for adults 18 and older. Under court-appointed LPS, or Lanterman-Petra Short Act conservatorship, and in need of intensive treatment for a serious mental illness and or co-occurring substance use disorder condition. So it might be a youth having a first psychotic break who maybe ended up in the hospital, in the hospital being conserved for grave disability, which is the criteria for conservatorship, and needing additional supervision and care, but has stabilized enough to not need inpatient psychiatric care in an acute care hospital. It could be somebody who's older and maybe had another treatment episode and coming back. So it's really designed to provide that 24-hour supervision and care for some of the most vulnerable in our community and some of the adults in our community with complex needs, because oftentimes they may also need specialty needs because a situation can be more complex. If somebody, for example, maybe has a serious mental health condition, but maybe also has a traumatic brain injury, or also has extensive trauma history or something else. So it can be quite complex. So some examples of some of the services are up there on the screen that these facilities and the treatment teams at these facilities can help with. It's really about helping folks develop a ability to manage their symptoms, help them stabilize on medication, really develop good routines for their activities of daily living and hygiene and self-care, skill building to manage symptoms, and taking advantage of individual and group therapy to help them rehabilitate, recover, and then hopefully step back down to lower levels of care and back to their communities. So where are these clients that we're serving being placed now for this type of care? There's a map up on the screen, and you can see that, thank you, the green dots on the screen are mostly in Sacramento, Central Valley, some in the northern or Bay Area there region, and those are the lock secured settings for this intensive type of treatment. And there's 11 placements, 8 of which are over 100 miles or more one-way travel from here. And the distances range from about 65 miles to 187 miles one way away from here. We currently have 49 clients that are placed at that level of care now. And so this lock secured setting intensive treatment is that MHRC Mental Health Rehabilitation Center level of care, as well as some of our skilled nursing facility placements and institutes of mental disease. We also have clients at 4 state hospitals across the state. 2 are down in Southern California, and then we have 1 in San Luis Obispo, and then 1 in Napa. And the state has allocated 11 state hospital beds for the entire LPS conserved population for Monterey County. So we only can have 11 clients in state hospital placement at one time who are under conservatorship. We also contract with enhanced board and care homes. And so that is typically a place when someone perhaps is ready to step down. They've done some intensive treatment at a mental health rehabilitation center, and then they are stepping down to an enhanced boarding care as they're progressing. And we currently have 35 clients that are placed in that level of care in 13 locations, which you see represented by, I believe it's the pink dots. So in looking at the map, I just want to call out the yellow dot on the map is behavioral health. That's our clinic where our staff are based out of. So you don't really see many other dots around that. And so the Central Coast is really a service desert for these type of facilities. And so folks on the Central Coast, in the Central Coast region, need to travel outside, and so do their families, if they are able to have the means to visit and stay connected. So I did want to call out that back in 2021, there was a RAND report, and there were a few relevant key findings to this conversation that I wanted to lift up in the space tonight. There's a few statewide figures there for your reference, but I really wanted to call out the last 3 bullet points because the Central Coast has a shortfall of subacute beds. We have a regional shortfall here of subacute beds, and there's also a shortfall of acute beds and community residential placement. So there's need. There's need. And why is this important for our county? Because the ability to have local placement options for Monterey County residents, local placement options throughout all of the levels of care that our clients need. And again, as a specialty mental health provider, focused on those needs, it's our responsibility to ensure that we have appropriate levels of care placements for individuals who have these needs. Having local MHRC placements will also aid in the overall coordination with hospitals here as they're transferring them here with our outpatient teams to step down. Because currently right now what's happening is we have behavioral health staff as well as public guardian staff who are traveling up and down the state to visit and follow up and assess when folks are ready to needing to step up or step down to different levels of care treatment. So just in looking, I'm not going to read all of this, but this is really to illustrate the point that we started down this path in February of 2023. There's been some really significant changes in behavioral health with the implementation of CalAIM, with the implementation of behavioral health transformation, with a lot of legislative changes that have happened. And we have seen behavioral health BCHIP, behavioral health continuum continuum infrastructure project, really brought funding that made funding available that hasn't been available to help build infrastructure to meet the needs of our client population. So back in February of 2023, Behavioral Health submitted a BCHIP Round 5 grant application, and we ended up being conditionally awarded and going to the board to seek approval to enter into a contract for that $20 million for a mental health rehabilitation center that was the renovation project for the rehabilitation wing of the county jail, the old part of the county jail. And then in February of 2024, we learned from the sheriff's office that they needed that for their own purposes. And so we had to pivot. We had to figure out, where we have this $20 million for a mental health rehabilitation center project. We don't want to lose the $20 million. The need is definitely there for our clients and for our population. So we had to put our heads together with ELSA and with our Natividad partners, and the parcel on the Constitution lot was identified. And so we went back to the board a couple more times in June and then again in November to provide the updates about transitioning from that renovation project at the jail to new construction. And then again, back to the board with the fiscal updates as well. And then realizing that the cost has gone up because new construction and new build, and especially on a land where there's no infrastructure, no services, no water, no sewer, no anything going to that land, it raises the cost a lot. So we also applied for BCHIP Bond Round 1 application and were conditionally awarded an additional $31 million. We engaged with Public Works to discuss the project between December and May, and our BCHIP Bond Round 1 application, we were looking at increasing the bed capacity, and then that didn't end up being viable because we were leveraging what had been done up in San Mateo County at the Cordilleras project. They had done a lot of research. They had really researched the type of settings that are most therapeutic and treatment oriented and best serve people, and those are really smaller, more home-like settings, which is what this is, and what they built up in San Mateo County at the Cordilleras project. They have 4 16-bed facilities or units up there, which is what we've modeled our project, and we've leveraged the learnings from that project as well. And so anyway, so we've continued to go through this process and try to get some draft renderings and do the programming and pull all of this information together to be able to present to you. So here's again the proposed location that we're talking about, and the early design concepts were really about creating a secure, peaceful outdoor space, open, home-like, natural light design, building a project that would blend in with the community, have walking trails, green space, and here's some landscape renderings of that, so you can see how the buildings are really situated. Fabricio, if you don't mind pointing to like where the parking lot is there. That's going to be relevant here when we get to the next picture, like on the side that the Natividad Corral parking lot is on the left side of the screen, and some of the renderings that you're going to see here in a minute are going to be looking from that vantage point down at the project. And so the phase 1, part 1 And phase 1, part 2 are broken out here and are funded by the two different grants, B-CHIP Round 5 grant, and then the second one, the B-CHIP Bond Round 1. And so the phase 1, part 1 really includes MHRC's A, B, and C, as well as the support building, as well as the infrastructure for the whole plot of land, because right now, as there's no water, there's no sewage, there's no data, there's no PG&E like electrical or anything going to the site. So all of that would have to be a part of part 1. So again, this is one of the views that I believe we have also blown up and out there in the hallway as well. But this is that look down towards the buildings from that parking lot that we were pointing out earlier. So you can see these are single-story buildings. There's lots of green space, walking paths, and neutral, natural colors. Here's another view from that angle. And here's a more elevated view, kind of looking down and seeing what it would look like. I do want to call out that the people and the cars that you're seeing in the renderings are there just to give you scale so that you can kind of see like the size of what we're talking about. Here you'll see 2 entrances. The one on the left is the staff-only entrance to sort of the back of the house, the staff area, because this is a staff 24/7 for the 24/7 supervision and care for the residents. So they have that back of the house employee-only area, and then the entrance on the right is the public entrance for the visitors and clients coming and going. And here's a street level view of that as well. And here's an additional view of the outside where you can see how the fencing is really the fencing that will be the secured fencing for the residents' outdoor space. And here's another view of that as well. And so here as we get into the draft floor plan, you see the blue are the residence rooms. The yellow is the shared treatment space and programming space. The green are the secured outdoor areas. And then the orange are the staff-only areas. So the activity area, again, it's really set to look like a home-like setting, relaxing, therapeutic treatment space. And this is kind of in that center hub area, and then the rooms go off down those different hallways. Here's the dining activity area and an example of one of the semi-private rooms. And in between the rooms in those hallways are like a lounge living room area. The support building floor plan is up here now, and we have a commercial kitchen in here. So there is the option of the food all being done here in that commercial kitchen and then being delivered out to the different units because each of the units also has a kitchen there as well for the food service for the residents, but could be prepared in the commercial kitchen and then delivered out to each of the units to then be served to the residents. There's also some office space in there for the staff that are working out of the support building, as well as for any of the other staff who are providing the services in these different units, and as well as maintenance. And here's a look from above at what that support building looks like, as well as a ground level view of that. And again, cars and people are there just to give you scale. Now I'm going to turn it over to Fabricio to talk cost.
Great. Thank you, Melanie. So yeah, very important part of this conversation. It's talking about the budget for this project, right? So as Melanie mentioned, back when this was a proposed rehabilitation of the old county jail, the Bureau was projecting a total cost of $45 million. When back in February 2024, that kind of was not an option, excuse me, the Bureau started looking at the parcel and looking at what it would cost for a new build. So the Bureau prepared a rough order of magnitude, and so we based that cost based on the square footage of the buildings and the cost per square foot for one of our recent builds, the Alizal Integrated Health Center. And so we came up with a projected cost of $75 million. Now, since that, there has been several changes to the project. So first, as noted by Melanie, the parcel has no essential infrastructure, right? There's no water lines, there's no sewer lines, there's no power lines. So that kind of added to the project cost. In addition to that, we're seeing tariffs, we're seeing escalation, cost escalations just in general. There's also additional improvements that are necessary on Constitution Boulevard. And then just industry costs have keep rising. And then there's also a contingency in the cost of the revised cost of 20%. Plus, there is some additional CEQA mitigation measures that are still to be determined. So that took our $75 million projected cost to $172.4 million. And here in this page, we can see the breakdown of where those line items are at. And just to highlight the contingency cost of approximately $25 million. So it's 10% for construction and 10% for project contingency. And then going on to the next slide, this is the other side of the coin. So this is the project finances to this day. So as Melanie mentioned, we successfully received the Beachy Round 5 grant, which is $20.1 million. That grant has a local match of 10%, which we were able to fulfill with the value of the property, of the parcel. And then additionally, the Beachy Bond Round 1, the $31 million, which at this point we're just waiting for written approval from the state. But that also had a 10% local match requirement, which the Bureau was able to leverage Mental Health Services Act Capital Facility and Technology Needs funding. And then on top of that, back on November 12, 2024, there was a presentation to the Board of Supervisors where we at that point presented a funding gap of $54.8 million. And some of the options that were presented were certificates of participation or other funding options. And then now with the additional cost increasing to $172 million, we have an additional funding gap of $63.3 million. So that's a total of $118 million in funding gap for this project, for which the Bureau has proposed some sort of debt service, whether that's loans from iBank or certificates of participation. And then going to the next slide, this is our project timeline. So looking back to summer of this year, we finalized floor plans. We are now doing some public outreach. Back in late October, we made a presentation to the Board of Supervisors. We have another one coming up on December 9th. But the intention here is, if this project gets approved at that point, to move forward with environmental review in the spring of 2026. And then late spring or early summer of 2026, we hope to secure a funding mechanism, again, whether that's certificates of participation or loans from iBank. And then summer 2026, we hope to have the construction contract process finalized so that we can begin construction in early 2027 and hopefully complete the project in the summer of 2029. And I'll pass it back to Elsa.
So very briefly, we've articulated to you who would be the users of the system, who are the individuals that are eligible. We can't stress enough how important it is for our clients to still be connected to their loved ones locally. And as Melanie showed, many of our clients are located an average of 100 miles away one way. And it's really hard for many of our family members to be able to go visit them. And that is so important in terms of their journey towards recovery and hopefully being reintegrated into the community. As mentioned, there is a shortage of beds in the Central Coast, and so not only would these mental health rehabilitation centers serve the needs of our Monterey County clients that are under conservatorship, but they would also serve as an access point for clients that are conserved in our surrounding counties. Our intent is to do a request for proposal to hire contractors to support the services at the MHRCs. And usually when that happens, hopefully it means that there's additional jobs for residents here in Monterey County, not only for those that are going to be staffing the mental health rehabilitation centers and providing the 24/7 care, but also the entities that will be providing the support services, whether it's laundry service, it's the commercial kitchen operations, etc. We've showed you where we are in terms of our project budget and our construction timeline. The county is in receipt of $50 million plus in state grants that will help cover these costs. And has it been indicated, the costs are very high because we're really taking a vacant piece of land that has no infrastructure, but it is close to other infrastructure. Last time we were asked why this location was selected. The county does have some county parcels throughout, mostly county parks, the lakes, parts of Fort Ord, but this is the one that's in close proximity to that infrastructure that's needed to be able to connect the power, the utilities, the water, the septic, the sewer systems, and it's also connected to the broader county services campus. And then lastly, based on our ability to generate revenue, behavioral health only receives about $500 million of county general fund, and our total budget is, 500,000. 5 zeros. Okay, and our budget is about our behavioral health budget is $192 million on a year, and we receive only 500,000 of county general fund. So this really highlights the fact that we are able to generate revenue based on the services that we render to our clients and to the broader community. And so we do believe that we can cover that debt service. And then now we open it up to the community, both in the room and in the Zoom space, to be able to come and ask us any questions that you may have on our proposed project, who it's going to serve, our timeline, our projected cost, really anything that you want to ask us. And we do ask that if you would like to receive email updates from us, obviously you can go to our social media accounts, you can go to our website, but we do ask that you sign in at the front so that we can make sure we email you updates. And as Melanie said earlier, our next presentation to the Board of Supervisors is scheduled for the 9th of December. Right now it looks like it'll be at the 1:30 p.m. Time slot on their agenda.
Thank you, Elsa. And so as Elsa stated, we want to open it up now for any comments, questions. If you're in the room and you would like to make a comment, please feel free to step to the mic. And Marty will go ahead and as you start the 3-minute timer. If you're on Zoom and you wish to make a comment, please feel free to raise hand. And we will alternate between in the room and Zoom for comments. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jose Guerra. I represent Montebello community. And I do see that you have a location that has no resources, which means you're going to spend a lot of money doing that you don't need to spend, when you can just talk to the jail here and see if you can get that space back, or put it somewhere where you have these actual amenities that you need to build this project. Second of all, I see that you're looking at $175 million. That's a proposed amount, so when we get done, it'll probably be over $230 million when you get done. And then, I mean, honestly, do you think you're gonna make revenue with that to make up for it? And then where are you gonna get the rest of the funding? I'm kind of curious because $63 million, you're going to probably slip in a bond somewhere that we all vote on and get tricked on voting on or something, the county. Oh, the counties, they're slick, let me tell you. They built the HOA building in Montebella, and they, between Alejo and the other guy, Lopez, is that his name? Chris Lopez, I think his name? Chris, whatever his name is. They played this with us in Montebella. I'm not your rep, you're your rep. And then by the time we got done, it was too late to protest it. So just be transparent, you know. I just found about this meeting a few days ago. It's sad that you guys are not posting it everywhere. It's sad that you're not reaching out to everybody. Even if you don't live in this community, it's still gonna be your money, it's your facility, it's your city, it's your county. So you're responsible regardless for all this. And I think, me personally, it's a waste of money. That's a lot of money you're gonna waste. Our roads are horrible. County roads are even worse than the city roads. Fix those. The lighting's horrible out here. People can't even drive out here. You're spending money on roundabouts, all kinds of other stuff out here that you don't need to spend money on. Why don't we give it back to the community? Let's work with the community. I mean, do you really need that many mental institutions out here? Are we equipped to run it? Who's gonna fund it once you build it? Where's the money gonna come from? Have you thought about that? Oh, you have? Well, I wanna know where you're gonna get it from. That's a lot of money. Okay, thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you for your comment.
Good evening. My name is
Good
Paul
evening.
Hernandez. I live here in Creek Bridge. And anyway, you know, this area, you got 3 schools close by. You got a soccer complex over here, a lot of children in that area. How secured are you? You know, you got the jail. They're always breaking out. So what's, you know, I don't see no fencing around your area. You know, it's, I don't know, and plus you got too many homes right behind it. And you know, I don't know, it's not a good area to put it in. Plus traffic, you got one way in, one way out, right? And you got 96 to 144 beds, and eventually your plan is sneak in another building down the road. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm really against it. It's not good. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Nina Perez. I am a resident of Creek Bridge. I bought my home 28 years ago when it was a dirt lot. And I guess before then it was a dump, if I'm not correct. And when I was sold on my property, I went around a lot of places. I chose this area because of the promises that were made by the county 28 years ago. It is going to be developed into a park, a sports complex, a community for the elderly, a grocery store across the street with the CVS. We had all kinds of stuff coming to us. Hey, I get you. First thing I did before I came here is I Googled, what does a mental health facility, not just a regular one, but a extended health one like you're saying, what does it do to my community, my taxes? And by the way, folks, this isn't a 3-year project. This is a lifetime project. This is something these folks are putting out for 30 years. Not for me, because I don't have any kids, but I have kids that I want to move into my home. I want to give it to them. I'm giving them nothing now. Because I'll tell you what, look on this little page right here. That's my backyard, your walking path. That's my fence. When I look out my top window, I don't see the rooftop of your building. I see a field with a migrant of, oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we live in a migrant pattern with birds and animals that come through us all the time. And you want to flick your lights at me, I don't care, flick them. Because I'm not done. I'm telling you what my community feels and what you're doing to it, not today, not in 2028, but 30 years from now. Who's going to pay the taxes when you guys can't afford to accommodate this? And you know what? Chain link fence in my backyard? Hey, that's okay. But what's behind my chain link fence? Because you're not telling me that these are soccer kids doing stupid shit in my backyard. Okay? You're going to put a pickleball across the street? I don't see that happening yet, but here we're over there talking about a mental health facility, not just a minimal health facility, but something that is far more. My mental health is going to my home that I bought, paid for, paid taxes on, go upstairs and look out the window. That's my mental health. Now I got floodlights, razor chains, and worried, not because the prison's behind there. I've had a few people get loose and the cops out there chasing them. And don't tell me it doesn't happen, because I've been there. I live it. Thank you for your time, but I don't appreciate the same value you do. 34%, folks. You look it up.
Thank you for your comment.
I want to thank the representatives that are either on Zoom or in the room, Mr. Church, who is District 2, for being here. Last week there was a meeting, and I want to point a couple of things that were brought to light last week. And one of the troubling areas that was admitted by the director, Ms. Jimenez, was that she pushed this out as far as she could because she knew we were going to have this kind of a reaction as she rolled her eyes. You did say that, and it's recorded, and it's public record, so that needs to be put out as part of the public record last week's meeting, not just tonight's meeting. There have been no town halls. This community has been, I don't know, this is a bait and switch. As you look at the first resolution, as I did, that was approved by the board going back to 2023, that resolution outlined whereas, county jail. Then I guess there were talks between Tina and yourself and whoever else, and you guys said, no, this isn't gonna work. I don't know, bait and switch. Then it became a brand new, different project. Now, anybody in this room who has ever had to go through the process of getting a permit to do something, say you wanna do a refurbish on your home, or you wanna put a project, and you go and you get the permit, you have to wait, you know, and then it becomes approved. And say the guys come out and they say, you know what, we can't do that project because you got a problem with your line, or you got a problem with the water. And I say, well, you know what? I own that property right over there. Why don't you just put it over there? I don't need a permit. I got this old permit that was approved for my house, but don't worry about it. Let's just switch it over there. Well, guess what? You can't do that under the Brown Act. You cannot create an item in which you're agendizing and you're saying the project is over there, and then somehow you change it, and then you go back, like a year later in front of the board, and you say, well, you know what, that property's not working out after all. We need to change it over here. At that point, that resolution is dead. You need to have another first reading and a second reading, and you need to let the public know. Now, when I looked at what was on that agenda that day, and you were even called out by Supervisor Alejo on this, that it was not agendized properly. Nowhere in there did it mention the site. And I'm going to say that that was done purposely so that no one here or in this area can get a heads up. Hey, they're taking a look at putting this project over here, brand new project, you know, a monster of a project, so different from the first one. It is no longer the same thing, and it requires a proper agendize, and that never happened. So really, quite honestly, this whole thing is in violation of that. And so you're trying to move forward. You don't have the funding. You haven't even done any town halls. Now, you said you had some meetings. I don't know what meetings you've had, because I can tell you that the people in this room, they don't
Thank
even
you
know
for
that
your
this is going
comment.
on.
Thank you for your comment.
Yeah, well, guess
The-
what? I'm going to wrap it up, my comment, and then I will let, can I have extra time? Does anybody mind? Does anybody mind? Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any hands up on Zoom? Okay. Can we pause and take some of those too?
So, you know what? At this point, you haven't done any public meetings at all. You haven't done any town halls. And as soon as you get people in a room and you don't like what they have to say, it's like, well, we're going to cut you off, even though you said you were going to allow people to speak.
Correct.
I'm just
3
gonna point
minute,
that out.
3 minute intervals. We set
no,
we
you
set
did
the
say
rules
that.
at the beginning, 3 minute intervals, and
did
we were
say
going to
that.
alternate between Zoom and in the
And
room.
I'm acknowledging that you did say that, okay? And so I'm just going to wrap this part out, but I will be back for more comment on
Okay.
this. And so I don't think that it's right that you guys have hidden this from this community purposely. Anyone needs to go in and look at those resolutions and take a look at the agendization of this item, which doesn't even work out on paper anyway. And as it's been mentioned here, this is a very costly project for which there is no money. Bringing people in from all other areas into here and, to say, well, these are services that are needed. There are a lot of services that are needed. But can we stop putting them in Creek Bridge? We've got a county jail. We have a juvenile hall. We have a hospital. Thanks to Alejo, we got a warming shelter. Thanks to those guys, we have homeless up and down the river, destroying our habitat. This causes problems for our insurance, fire protection, all of these things, not to mention all the wildlife that is being killed in this area. So it's high density, it's redlining, and this is a former proposed blight-sited area that at one time they collected taxes in this area in order to improve it, but you're going backwards. And I don't see, so this isn't just about your project. This is about our quality of life. And you need to understand that.
Thank you for your comment. Marty, would you mind reading the question?
Of course, the questions, it's a couple questions. They come from Council Member Aurelio Salazar. The questions are, can someone share with us what kind of patients/clients would be served? Also, when you say treatment for adults with serious mental illness, what does that mean? And what do you mean by treating adults 18 plus with serious mental illness and/or co-occurring substance use disorders who are LPS conserved? And what is LPS conserved?
There's a lot to unpack there. Okay, so when we're talking about 18 plus, we're talking about these facilities are designed to serve adults, so 18 years and older. When we're talking about serious mental illness, we're talking about that chronic, severe, persistent end of that mild, moderate, severe continuum I was talking about. And we're really talking about diagnoses like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder. And when we're talking about co-occurring conditions, we're talking about like co-occurring substance use disorder. So someone might have a serious mental illness, say a schizophrenia diagnosis, and then also be struggling with a substance use disorder as well. So we're really talking about individuals with complex needs. When it comes to conservatorship, that is really for individuals who are struggling to take care of themselves, struggling to maintain their ability to provide for their basic needs of food, clothing, shelter, personal safety, necessary medical care. And so they need that external sort of treatment and support to rehabilitate, to learn some of those skills, to recover, to get stabilized on medication, and manage symptoms so that they're better able to manage in their daily lives.
And so how does someone become conserved? So usually somebody is in crisis in the community, maybe law enforcement has been called, maybe 911, maybe you are the parent of or the sibling of, and so you take your loved one to your local emergency department. Natividad has a mental health unit that is a locked, secure facility, and CHOMP also has Garden Pavilion, which is a secure space to be able to treat these individuals. Uh, they're assessed by a psychiatrist in the emergency department, and if they meet criteria to be hospitalized, then they are hospitalized in the mental health unit. Now, if during the course of the treatment, the medication regimen isn't working, the individual is still not willing to take the medication, they have no idea where they're going to get their next meal once they're released from the hospital, how they're going to clothe themselves, or where they're going to be housed, then that psychiatrist, with the concurrence of a second psychiatrist, will submit a referral to the county's public guardian office. Our public guardian deputies will review the referral, they will meet with the client, and then they'll make a determination whether or not that individual meets the state definition of grave disability, meaning that because of their mental illness, they're not able to take care of their activities of daily living. And we will petition the Superior Court, and the judge will then determine whether or not that individual should be placed on a temporary conservatorship or a year-long conservatorship. And then that gives the county the ability to be able to make decisions for that individual because of their mental illness is not able to care for themselves. So then we will find a location for them to be housed to receive that intensive level of service that they need to hopefully then be willing to take their own medication, have a plan for how they're going to clothe themselves, feed themselves, and where they're going to shelter. And if after a year that individual is still not able and the judge concurs with the recommendation of the public guardian office, then that individual could be conserved for one more year. But if at the end of that year that individual now has a plan, they know where they're going to live, they know where they're going to get their food, then the conservatorship lapses and they go back into the community and hopefully are reintegrated to wherever they came from. They're connected to our behavioral health system of care, and so they're receiving their outpatient treatment services and hopefully on a path towards wellness.
And the only thing that I would add, or rather clarify, is LPS conservatorship. That is a civil court process. That is not a criminal court process. So we're not talking about the offender population there. LPS is a civil court process. Did we, Marty, can you check, did we answer all of the council members?
Salazar, did we answer all your questions? We also have more details on slide 4 of our deck. We can come back to him if he has another question.
Hi, my name is Sarah Jen, and I live in Creek Bridge. And if someone is institutionalized and they're deemed capable of reentering the community, are they just shown the front door and they have to walk to wherever they go? They have no way, because I walk along Constitution all the time. I see the jail property bags strewn from the jail all the way to Safeway. And I would never throw away my bag on the floor with my name and my case number, but I know they have to walk to wherever they go. So if someone's released from an institution like this, are they just, here's your front door, you're free, just walk to wherever you need to go?
No, these clients who are living in these type of treatment facilities have the supervision and the support of not only behavioral health team members, but also the public guardian's office, who coordinate the care for them and work to transition them to wherever they're going to be living next or going next when they're ready to transition to a lower level of care.
Okay, so no one's going to be cured there to re-enter society from the time they leave the front door.
They may recover to the point to where they're ready to step down to a lower level of care, maybe a boarding care home in the community or back with their family, and then receive voluntary outpatient services in the community like so many of our clients do.
And does anyone there have in and out privileges? Are they able to drive or ride the bicycle?
No.
So they have no transportation?
It's a supervised treatment setting 24/7. So they're not coming and going. There's no in and out like privileges, if you will. If they go out, if they're leaving the facility, they're leaving it with a staff member, with their conservator, or with a behavioral health staff.
Okay, so life inside is nowhere like life inside. There's no in-between phase where they have some freedoms to come and go.
Not while they're in the placement. It's a secured, supervised care 24/7.
So once the clients have met their treatment goals and the treating clinical team as well as a conservator have deemed that this individual is now stable, they have a plan, we know where we're going to send them, whether it's back to their home or to a boarding care to another lower level of care, then they will be discharged and they will be transported to that next place they're going to
Okay,
leave.
so once they're at the next place, are they able to drive and ride a bike and walk around freely, like 100% freely?
Yes. Once
okay.
once they've met their treatment goals,
Okay, so when they so would that be when they walk out of the door of the facility?
no, they would go back to their home. For example, many of our clients still live at home with their family. Some live in local boarding cares or other home settings like that. That's where they would be taken back to.
Okay, so they won't be immediately able to reintegrate when they leave? Like, yeah.
No, yes. So if they go back home with their family, then many of our clients are receiving Social Security. They're living at home. Their parents can help them in terms of, or their loved ones taking them to their appointments. So once they've met their treatment goals, they're stable, meaning they will go on with their life. They had an acute episode. They needed rehabilitation services. And someone with a mental illness can live a very long, healthy life and be part of our community, and we may not even know that they're experiencing a mental illness. I'm not sure if
I
I'm...
just want to make sure that they have mobility and a way to get from point A to point B to their doctor's appointments.
Yes.
Because if they go from a completely controlled, gated, like caged institution and say, now you have to do all this on your own, they might not get along with their family. They might not have a lot of friends. And what's going to happen to them? Basically, my question is, what's going to happen to them when they are released, when they leave the front door?
Yeah, so, depending on their ability to their activities of daily living, what types of supports that they need. Some of our clients may need to transition to a boarding care where they still have that support for their meals, the medication management, somebody doing the laundry and, all of those things and helping to prompt them.
And with the
Some
SIN
folks might be able to live a little bit more independently in sort of a supported housing environment where there are staff available, but they are more able to do some of those activities of daily living. So maybe they need more of a transitional or permanent supported housing environment to be able to thrive.
And will there be an influx of people? So there'd be more need for counselors and more need for supportive housing and more need for group homes. Are those going to have to be built as a result of all these people moving into one place?
These are already our clients, so we're already serving them. They're already here. We're already serving them in different levels of care. For those that may be in this model, being having some ability to support other counties in the region, when they're done with their treatment here, they would go back to their counties of origin. So they wouldn't be staying here.
Okay, but how do they get back?
From their conservators out of those counties, from
They are
their
transported.
behavioral health workers in those counties. They are monitoring them like we are monitoring them when we have clients in Sacramento or Modesto or Southern California. Our staff go visit them regularly, and when they're ready to transition, we go over there, we pick them up, and we drive them back or to wherever they're stepping down to.
Okay, so this is all coordinated by counties?
Yes.
All right.
Is there
and, is there a and who foots the bill? Like if someone's in Sacramento or Alameda County or Fresno County?
Yeah, so behavioral health has several funding streams, right? And so it's half a percent sales tax that's called 91 and 2011 realignment, plus Medi-Cal, which is one of the things that we're talking about how we could fund this project. But essentially, for most of these current clients, it's 91 or 2011 realignment. a percent sales tax on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And it looks like we have a question, a raised hand on Zoom.
Yeah,
Um,
we do have.
yeah, we had a question submitted in chat, but it is in Spanish, so we have our interpreter here
Yes,
to.
I'll be the interpreter for today, just translating what. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, you guys. My name is Gabriel, and I have a Leo G's comment on the chat, and he basically says that I agree with what's being said, but why not invest this money in preventing people from needing this rehabilitation center service in the first place? For example, let's make some grassy fields, areas where there's more trees for the community, not just for bedridden patients, like maybe make a safe running track for people to walk and feel secure, like outdoor gyms. This project, although well intentioned, is just like a like a band aid on the wound, because the root of the problem is still gonna remain. That money could be used in a more useful way without burdening those who will pay for it, especially the people who live near the area. It is essential that the people in the neighborhood agree, because that area is part of their collective home.
Hi, Letitia Gomez. Also live in Creek Bridge. I think most of us here are not in that not in my backyard thing, but already, since you guys know, we have so many boarding care homes here in our neighborhood. Within a 2-block area, there's 3 in my neighborhood. So we see people always that are having challenges dealing with everyday life. Are you telling me that you're going to be taking people out of Napa and Atascadero and placing them here? Is that what you're saying? Well, you mentioned both hospitals, and they were up on your map, and I've dealt with Atascadero and Napa. And yes, those people are more than mentally challenged. And you're saying that they'll go back home. Most of the families can't handle them and won't take them back home.
Yeah, so to clarify, that map was where we have currently all of our clients who are under conservatorship and are needing higher levels of care and are in these placements outside of the county. It included state hospitals, yes, because we do have 11 beds at state hospitals, but the MHRCs are a different level of care. Some folks, sadly as it is, need state hospital level of care, and that's where they will be for the majority of the rest of their life, unfortunately, because that is the appropriate level of care and they won't be stepping down. When we're talking about MHRCs, it's really about folks who, as I think Elsa kind of painted that picture of the LPS conserved client who comes in, has an episode, ends up on an inpatient psychiatric
You
unit.
guys aren't talking worst case. You're just telling us the pretty parts. Oh, they have a little episode, we deal with it, and they go back out. No. Worst case scenario is they don't. They commit a crime. One of us gets killed. One of our kids gets, okay? That's reality. I know there's no quote-unquote cure, but you're asking me to put a little mini institution, mental institution here in my neighborhood when you already have me filled with challenges, people that are challenged living in my neighborhood. That's why we all object. There's people having sex in the creek, that people that are paying over $7,000 a year in taxes can hear. You got a little bit better house than I do, honey. But that's why we're complaining. That's why we're hurting. That's why we're paying out of our you-know-whats. And what services are we getting? We got all this junk dumped on us. You got men taking showers completely naked in Creek Bridge. You're going to tell me he's not mentally challenged? That's why we're fed up. That's why the back of the neck hurts. Thank you.
I do want to acknowledge that we do have some City of Salinas staff online in addition to some of our council members. I don't know if any of them would like to speak up to some of the concerns that have been raised about the unhoused that are currently living in the Creek Bridge community. And then we also have Chief Lanquist online. I know there was a question earlier raised about why not the jail, the former rehabilitation center. So if you're ready to answer that question, please raise your hand and we can unmute you.
So you sandbagging us up here then?
No. You raised some questions earlier and I wanted to make sure.
That's okay. I mean, if he's not ready, he'll raise his hand when he's ready.
That's what I said, when he raises his hand. But now you have the floor.
Hi, thank you. I worked in an institution. Let me tell you, a lot of you guys take a trip to SATIF, to the actual state institution. I've been there. It's crazy. I mean, I can tell you stories, but I won't, because your own experience is the best way to do it. I said when Sacramento people came down all the time for the prison system. Oh yeah, let's open up the gates. Let's take you upstairs. Oh no, come on. I'm going to show you what it's like to have an inmate, what it's like to have a prisoner, what it's like to have a mentally ill person. It's tough. I'm sorry. I mean, you guys don't get it. Some of you guys are paper pushers and do this and that and fill out forms. Have you ever dealt with people like that? They're not nice. And when they're not nice, they take it out on whoever it is. And in 2 seconds, you got a different person in front of you. He'll be all smiles and happy faces and hugs. And in 2 seconds, there's a guy you don't know who he is. And you try to talk to him. Of course, last thing you want to do is put somebody on the ground, hurt them. You don't want to do that. You want to talk to them because they're not right. And I think we need to get people here. So when you bring people here, if you build this, I know you will. You guys will get away with it. You always do. The county does. When you build it, bring the right people. Bring people that have experience. Bring local people that care about their community, not people out of state or out of the county or out of wherever you get them. Get people here locally. And when they build this thing, get local builders. We're hurting here. People here need to pay their mortgages and stuff. And I know the city does this. I know the county does it. You bring outside people to build stuff. Don't do that anymore. Take care of your community. If you want respect from all these people here, respect them because they're paying your taxes. They're paying your wages. We are the ones making the money for you guys to develop stuff, but do the right thing. I'm not saying it's not a bad idea. I don't agree with it. I don't live in this area. I'm here for supporting these people that do, that don't have a voice, the people that couldn't make it today. And it's a shame that our county representatives are not here. They're on Zoom. Give me a break. You need to be here. People need to see you presently here.
Supervisor Church is right behind you.
Yeah, Supervisor Church, by the way, told us about a meeting last week. He never responded to me online. Oh, it's at 10:30 or 10 o'clock. The meeting was at 9. So we missed public comment, and that's wrong. If you're going to put something, Supervisor Church, please be honest, transparent, and put the right time on there. You'll have your time. I'm talking right now, sir. And it's sad because you politicians, you think, because you're politicians, that you have control of the city. You don't. We the people, we have the control, and we're going to take it back. So you better respect the people that live here and respect what everybody does. Thank you again. Have a good day.
And if I can just answer you, I have visited clients in state hospitals, and as Melanie indicated earlier, unfortunately, some of those individuals will never, ever be able to step down. And that is not the population we're talking about that would benefit from a mental health rehabilitation center.
And I just want to give comment that we do have a comment on Zoom, so we're going to alternate and then come back to the room.
We have raised hands from Timothy Lanquist and from Aurelio Salazar.
Marty, can you speak louder, please?
We have raised hands from Timothy Lanquist and from Aurelio Salazar.
I can wait until after the next comment. It's fine.
Go ahead, Chief.
Good evening, everyone. So I just want to take a moment to answer their question. But first of all, the sheriff's office is behind this project. We're behind any project that will, give our mental ill, resources that they need to survive in the community. Unfortunately, the jail is not a place for them, whether they're incarcerated or not. The the old rehabilitation area that was being referred to back in 2023 is not a usable space for them. That houses our inmate laundry, our incarcerated person laundry, our inmate programs. That's our space for our reentry programs. So our incarcerated population, we give them classes and all the resources they need so that they don't become justice involved again. So that space really isn't available, unfortunately. It is a large space, but due to some of the other projects we have going on in the jail, it is going to be used for the next few years, well into the future. But we are supportive of this project. I understand the community's concerns, and we work with them. I made a couple notes on, some of the trash and stuff being left by our released inmates. That's something that I'll take a look at, work with the community on, and maybe look at setting up some more dumpsters in the area so that trash doesn't enter the community. I can be very responsive as far as that goes.
Yeah, thanks for your comment. People are laughing.
Yeah, they can laugh. That's fine. But I'm here.
Folks are dealing
Ask
with.
away. Any other questions? I'll be more than happy to answer.
Right?
Thank you, Chief. Council member?
Yes, this is Aurelio Salazar. Sorry, I wasn't able to make it today. I was able to make it to the last meeting. No, I just want to share and go on record that, as I've been out in the district, residents are strongly opposed to this project. We know that county employees, you're going to speak in favor of it. I do have a concern when I see that, at least at the last meeting, was shared with us about 51 million has been raised. The flyer regarding this particular project says that it was projected to be $114 million. Tonight's presentation, we heard that it's going to be over 170 million. And I think I heard that it may have been mentioned at a board of supervisors meeting that this project is at 300 million. So we want to know, what is it? What is the cost going to be? Because at the end of the day, it does fall on taxpayers. And those of us that live in the area, we just want to know. I'm going to go ahead and restate what I said at the first listening session, which was that residents overwhelmingly said that, hey, we want to keep this a residential area. I mean, that is what we want. We understand that you guys are county leaders. And when it comes to going after different funding resources, there's a variety of options, right? There's a variety of options. Ideally, where's the economic dollars, right? We've got the soccer complex there, the nonprofit and philanthropy field sectors. Those guys that have been working diligently to turn around. Nobody wanted that property because it was in a flood zone. No one wanted it. County turned its back against it. You had the nonprofit sector come in and say, hey, you know what? Let's see what we can do with it. They've built a beautiful soccer complex. My understanding is that over this last summer, about 68,000 individuals visited it. We're talking soccer players and their parents. And one of the biggest challenges there was that there was nowhere to stay. And when we talk about Monterey County, in terms of it being an agricultural leader and a leader in hospitality, we all know that the hotels are on the peninsula, right? And the workforce, the labor, it's all Salinas, right? We make up the workforce in our two major industries. And what we're saying is, we want something different in our backyard. Why not build? Why not have the economic development department instead of the health department? Why not have the economic development department work on building some hotels in that area that will also create entry-level jobs, management jobs for individuals, and support something that does really address health in terms of physical and mental health for young people. I think that's what we're all wanting to see, not this particular model. Some of us that have a background in the built environment, I mean, this is not what we want to see here. And so there's strong opposition to it. I'm continuing to hear that. I've not heard a single person other than county employees say that they're in favor of this project.
Thank you, council member.
Thank you again, Nina. I would just wanted to say thank you to the gentleman on the phone prior to this last gentleman, because at least now we know where our authority lies. They want to throw a dumpster fire in our backyard. That's what I heard. But that being said, I implore every one of you, because what I heard is this is my problem because it's my backyard. And you're damn right. It is my problem now because it is my backyard. Y'all sold us on a park for us. Now you're trying to sell us a park for other folks who need it. Bless your hearts, because you got a hard job and a hoe road, hoe. But this is my backyard, and I will stand up for my backyard. And when we have constituents on the telephone telling us that my backyard is a dumpster fire and they'll just throw more dumpsters in there, you just added more fuel to the fire. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But before I leave here tonight, and I know I did come with a lot of compassion because this is my backyard. So if that's what we want to label this from now on, is my backyard, by God, you got it. Okay? Number two, this is a community that was built on parks and bringing other communities and counties because you wanted a soccer complex. It's not a park, it's a complex where you wanted to bring other counties here. You want to hold stuff to bring in here. And when we Google and say, where's the best place to stay, is it the wagon wheel? No. My backyard? Let's find something. Let's find something. But anyway, I know I'm digressing, and I'm sorry, because there's a whole lot that needs to be said here. But I implore each and every one of you, Google what Salinas needs most. And what it'll tell you is our homeless. That's where our need is. I'm not homeless. I don't need a home. I don't need to be here to advocate for the homeless. I'm here to advocate for my backyard now. Okay? So that being said, I'm going to leave you all to your moment, but let you all be known. $200 million today. When they started this was $31 million, and I think that was a couple of weeks ago in Salinas. And how much have you guys already spent already on this project? Amen, folks. So just think about the money that's being spent. And when you're out driving around and you're looking at all the homeless on the street who are going to be wanting to line up in your front yard because they want to be the next person in the bed to get the facilities that they're not going to offer to them. And God knows if this shit happens here, I might be at the gate asking for the next bed. Go ahead, laugh, y'all. Laugh, y'all. It's not funny because this is my backyard. This is my backyard, and you guys don't understand. When you pull in a community over 28 years of my life here, when I came from San Jose looking for the place, this is what I was sold on. And now you're trying to sell this? Turn a light on.
We have
Thank
somebody
you.
on Zoom.
Yes, we have our interpreter here who will read a question that was posed in chat, and then we do have a Spanish speaker with a raised hand. So while he's up there, if it's okay, if he can provide translation.
That sounds good.
Hi, I'm Mark Poner. I'm an interpreter. I have a comment from Leo G to everyone, and it says, is this project going to be done whether or not the community is in agreement with it? And then I can go ahead and translate for Sandra Bautista if she wants to go ahead. She has her hand raised.
We can answer that question first, and then we can do that. As stated earlier in the presentation, we are going back to the Board of Supervisors on December 9th. And it will be up to the Board of Supervisors at that point whether this project continues, whether it remains paused, or we're seeking further direction from the board on December 9th.
Entonces, para contestar la pregunta, el proyecto este grupo de salud conductual va a llevar los comentarios suyos a la junta directiva del condado de Monterrey y ellos van a determinar qué se hace, si seguir adelante o buscar otra vía para estas necesidades.
So does that mean people here need to go to the County Board of Supervisors on that date in order to voice their opinion? Person online as well?
Yes, the Board of Supervisors meetings are public and open to comment both in the room and via Zoom.
Can you interpret
Entonces,
everything that was said for that? Thank you.
we're kind of mixing up because there's somebody else interpreting for the Zoom meeting. Entonces, lo que está diciendo es si van a tener que ir a la reunión de la Junta Directiva del Condado de Monterrey o si se les comunica directamente por medio de este grupo. Y la respuesta que da es que las reuniones de la Junta Directiva de la Mesa Directiva del Condado de Monterrey son abiertas al público y pueden ir allá y contestarles o pueden dejar que se les represente. Are you ready for Sandra Bautista?
She's ready, so we can ask her to unmute.
Buenas noches.
Good evening.
La reunión pasada también estuve aquí haciendo dando mi opinión. Y sí me gustaría pues comenzar con una pregunta, ¿no? Y es cómo se puede ir avanzando, cómo se puede ir aprobando este tipo de medidas o este tipo de centro que quieren realizar cuando pues todo ciertamente tiene que ser por medio de votos y hasta la fecha la comunidad o al menos mi vecindario, la mayoría de las personas no se han dado cuenta de este centro que van a construir.
Ok, pare un momentito, Sandra, para que yo pueda interpretar
Sí.
para usted. So I asked the question last meeting that we had on Thursday, and I'm going to ask again, how can we go ahead with this project? Or is this something that has to be voted on? And we want to make sure that the community is speaking to it, that they're approving, and at least the neighborhood. And so I want to make sure that our voices are heard. Bien, pueda siga otra vez.
Sí, por otra parte, nosotros literal somos vecinos de ese centro, vamos a ser vecinos, quedamos en la parte de atrás y como comentaba la persona pasada, va a ser nuestra yarda, lo que van a ver mis hijas. Yo no quiero que mis niñas lleven ese tipo de espectáculos, ese tipo de miedos, porque este centro busca la tranquilidad de unas personas, pero el riesgo de todos nosotros. Y creo que eso no está bien, no sé a quiénes está beneficiando realmente este centro.
So I want to express that you're serving people that would be coming to this facility, but we have a responsibility to the people in our neighborhood. And I'm especially concerned because I have my daughters. I don't want them to see the kind of scandalous behavior that could be happening here. And I want to make sure that they're protected from that.
Comentaban pues en esta junta, en la vez pasada, que tenían un promedio del costo que se iba a necesitar, ¿verdad?, para este centro, pero poco a poco han estado subiendo el costo del centro. Y también mencionaban la vez pasada que por cuestión de los fondos que tenían, ese era el mejor lugar, porque otros sitios costarían mucho más caros, tendrían que hacer más cosas, como lo que hace rato mencionaban acerca de que todo estaba más fácil y que en otro lugar sería más caro. Pero si han estado incrementando tanto el costo cada junta, ¿por qué no reunir más dinero y hacerlo fuera de esta ciudad, cerca de otro lado donde tal vez no esté perjudicando a tantas personas?
So as I said in the last time that I spoke to the meeting, the last listening session. The costs for building this project are going up and up and up. And it was asked, why don't you look for another area, another location? And one of the answers is that it would be more expensive, but since your costs are going up and up and up, why don't you just go ahead and take the more expensive one, or take the cost and build somewhere else where it's not going to put the community in jeopardy?
Esto también no tomando en cuenta el valor de nuestras casas, ¿verdad? Estoy viéndolo por cuestión de mental, por cuestión de nuestras familias, que tratamos de estar lo más seguro que se puede, pero si lo vemos también por el lado económico, como ya lo habían comentado, esto va a afectar a nuestra economía, a todos nuestros gastos de nosotros, porque finalmente si en un momento nosotros determinamos vender la casa, yo pienso que otra familia que esté en nuestra posición con 3 niñas pequeñas, no va a ser tan fácil que ellos quieran comprar la casa de nosotros. Entonces, son cosas que sí nos afectan y quisiera finalizar con que pusieran, se pusieran en los zapatos de cada uno de nosotros, ¿verdad? Y tratar de hacer lo mejor realmente por la comunidad y no por las necesidades de personas que a veces ni van a ser de aquí. Yo en lo particular estoy en negación de este centro. Gracias.
So, talking about costs, as the costs increase for this project, we also have to take in consideration the economic value of our own houses and how our own costs are going to be affected, because we're going to be living around this facility, and it's going to affect the value of our homes. And if I see that we, with our 3 daughters, have to move, it's not going to be so easy for us to sell our house because of its proximity to the facility. So I'd like to ask you to put yourself in our shoes and consider what it's like for us. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Hi, my name is Yolanda Hayes. I'm a Creek Bridge resident, neighborhood watch, and neighborhood leader. I represent, can you hear me? I represent over 300 people in the neighborhood. They're all very upset. I was called a NIMBY when the share center was put behind Safeway. I was called a NIMBY, and everything that I said was going to happen has happened. We ended up in worse conditions. I've heard people say, I've been to the share center. Oh, it's nice. People are nice, good families. That's inside. The surrounding area is destroyed. I even heard somebody say, let's just put tents behind Safeway. That's a county land. Let's just put tents and bring everybody here. How dare they? We in Creek Bridge and Montebella pay more taxes than any other district in Salinas. We pay more property taxes than any other district in Salinas. And we're getting dumped with all the problems of Monterey County. The last time I was here, I asked, how many of you live in this area? How many of you have experienced people that are homeless? I heard the director say, oh, we have Manzanita Park. We have homeless there. Have you ever seen anybody masturbating in front of you? Have you ever seen nude people in your neighborhood taking down their pants and showing the children their parts? You have not seen what we're going through. I get very, very passionate about this because I care about my neighbors. I care about my communities. Yet you come in, oh, we want to build a homeless shelter right behind your backyard. You know what? And I found out I'm not the only NIMBY. I'm not the only one not in my backyard. I found out that our sheriff was too. You know, she was the only one that they asked you know, we wanted to take over that place to put in this venue, this project that you're working on. And she said no, because we need it for something else. A laundry. Yay, another NIMBY. Not in my workplace. Put him somewhere else. I couldn't believe. I was stunned when I heard her say that. Or when I heard somebody say that about what she had said, that she needed that for a laundry facility. It was like, I used to think of her after when she stopped this facility, this mental institution from coming here. I thought, what a powerful woman. Somebody that finally cares for our community. And then I find out a week ago, no, we need it for laundry. Not in my workplace. So you're going to have to find another acronym for that on what to say. But you really need to understand what's going on. We pay your salaries. We pay for most of the things here in Salinas. 2 districts are the highest paid. Yet you have Carmel, you have Pacific Grove, you have all those fancy areas, but their homes are old and they're not paying as much as we pay for our properties. But they have a lot of money. We don't have that kind of money. We're work people. Yet you're having a meeting in December 9th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Our people are working. We're a working class complex. This community is, pardon me? Yeah, it's at 1:30. Is that so not everybody can attend? We need to have everybody, like somebody said, we need to have everybody vote to make sure that you hear their voices. We need to be heard. We're tired of being the dumping ground just because you have a piece of land that you're being given free. It's not free. It's not free. It's going to cost way more than what you even anticipate. I heard 300 million. I bet it goes up to way more than 300 million.
Thank
So
you for
anyway,
your comments. Thank you for your comments. And just to clarify, the meeting on December 9th, that's the regular Board of Supervisors
Right,
meeting. We
I know
have
that.
no control over the time of that meeting, and it's an agendized item. And so we believe right now that it will be 1:30 in the afternoon. And if there's any update to that time, we will let folks know.
yeah, then it needs to be postponed, or the Board of Supervisors should make it a time when most of the people can attend, because I assure you, everybody in districts 1, 2, 4, and 6, I'm sure they will be there.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody on Zoom?
I think I didn't see anybody by Zoom, but.
Hi, I've been here a couple of times. I saw you all at the Board of Supervisors meeting. I was here last week. I'm here again. I'm again saying I don't want this. I am definitely an NIMBY. I do not want it in my backyard. As I stated the last time I was here, my fence line would be on the walking path on the back side of that building, which makes me very uncomfortable. If somebody was having a psychotic break and was in the area where the fences are, what is going to be done? So if they are on a psychotic break and they want to get out, and they will find a way to get out, and they get on that fence, there is going to be security, but is there like something at the top of that fence to prevent them from to get out? Is there something like that? Something that my husband told me about last week, but he's not here this week, he couldn't make it, is the noise from the AC units. So that noise is, again, our home is on the fence line. So we'll be hearing those hum, hum, hum all day and night. Also, because the sheriff doesn't want it in her laundry department, is there another place? Is the hospital being looked at in case the Board of Supervisors don't go forward
can it go to the old hospital? I know it needs to be refurbished. I know there's things that need to be done, but it probably is not going to cost as much as you're going to need. Also, so again, I live on that property. I see that empty lot. And somebody said this last week. There's a lot of animals that live there. We see red foxes all the time. Of course, skunks, possums, squirrels, all of that. So will there be a environmental report before or after the Board of Supervisors meeting? So those are my questions. Thank you.
So I'm going to look at our Public Works to answer the question about the environmental report, please.
County.
County Public Works.
So to answer the question about the environmental review, that will have to definitely be completed before the project can go out to bid or be under construction. So the CEQA is underway, but since the project was put on hold, that has been put on hold too.
And Luis, can you please answer the question about the noise from the AC units as well as the fencing that encapsulates each of the MHRCs?
Yes, so within the team, we have an acoustical engineer, and basically for this project, we are following the county's standards, which actually are more stringent than the city. So this project, all of the equipment, including the generator, it will have to, at night, have a 45 decibel. So it will need to be really quiet, and this measurement will have to be taken at the property line where this project will be. At the city standard, I believe at night, that can be, I think, 65. So the county is more stringent, and we're sticking to that standard to make sure that, noise does not become an issue for the neighborhood, whether it's the AC units or the generator.
And then the height of the fence?
So the current height of the fence is 14 feet, and it's pretty tall, and that is based on the previous Corraleras project in San Mateo. It's kind of a height that has been determined that it will make it rather challenging. It will definitely not have barbed wire, but it will have anti-climb. So on the inside, it will most likely have a mesh that will make it really hard for people to climb. So you will have kind of like a height. Huh? I don't know if you guys have ever seen, but PG&E has done it in some of their facilities. It's a mesh that is really meshed close together, that it not like people will not be able to climb. So something like that will be on the inside. And of course, what you're seeing on the renderings, the whole exterior is getting cladded with a wood finish, so that of course that will provide a good aesthetic, and people will not be able to see into the facility. So that's the whole logic and reason behind that.
Thank you, Luis.
Hello, good evening. My name is Lupe Hernandez, and my husband and I have lived here for 30 years. I would just like to say that some people here have done their homework, and I appreciate the input that you've given. Margaret, thank you for your input, and Yolanda, thank you for always being on top of things and helping our community. Thank you. I am very, very concerned about the money issue here. I just feel like in the time we're in, where they're cutting Medi-Cal, so a lot of funding comes from Medi-Cal. So it's either the state, the feds, but at some point, it seems like it's going to take a lot of money to continue to have this beautiful facility. I just am afraid that we're going to run out of money. And then we're going to have an empty, beautiful facility there. I'm really concerned about that money. I'm really concerned. I don't know what's going on with our old Natividad Hospital, but I would have said, let's do it there. I say, let's do it there. There's rooms, the facility, I don't know what they're used for now, but to me, that looks a lot better than this, the cost of this beautiful facility. So anyway, but I hope to see everyone at the December 9th meeting. Thank you, Supervisor Church, for being here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and I did just want to clarify one of the reasons for the 6 separate 16-bed MHRCs is so that that allows for Medi-Cal to be built and leveraged, versus when you get over 16 beds in the facility, you cannot do that based on current rules and regulations. And so between designing it that way to be able to bill and leverage Medi-Cal to help sustain the services being provided, and then also knowing what we do know from treatment and research, that smaller, more home-like therapeutic settings we have better outcomes with that versus larger, more institutionalized or hospital settings. The recovery and the prognosis and the folks recover better in those types of settings. So between having the research and what we know and the treatment that support the smaller settings, and then also being able to leverage Medi-Cal, that fed into the reason for this design. And then again, building on all of the research and all of the work that San Mateo County has done, and also the lessons learned, because they have been open since earlier this year up there with their project. And so also taking into account the lessons learned from their project and making any modifications that we see fit based on that. We're also leveraging that knowledge. So I just wanted to add that, but thank you for your comments. And I think we have a comment online.
We have a raised hand and we have a comment. So we'll start with the raised hand. Renee Mendez.
Hi, this is Renee, City Manager of City Salinas. Sorry I couldn't be there. I'm assuming you guys can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Just want to make a couple comments. We have been trying to understand the project and working with this county. They've been bringing the information to us. At some point, there probably will be an update to the council. I know Councilman Aureli is on the call. As far as the homeless, as many of you know, it's something that we've been struggling with. We are trying to do a lot more increased coordination among us, Police Department, Public Works, and everybody in our SORT team. And the county is a significant partner with us, as they do help us with some of the facilities and bed space and stuff, which we desperately need. But I just kind of want to clarify that addressing the homeless, and Yolanda's on there and some of the others, we are trying our best, and we continue to work on it, how to do it better. We have to not only be able to manage the environmental concerns, but also being able to get in there safely. We do recognize we do have a problem, and we are attempting aggressively to address it. We will continue to work on it. So, but just kind of wanted to clarify, at least on city property and sort of the city incorporated area, that kind of lies with the city more than the county, though the county does help as sort of a partner. I think the other thing, and I get that there will be a difference of opinion and some real valid concerns, is this is sort of a path of the continuum of care, and where, as the county looks at providing these types of facilities, they're addressing a very specific targeted population. And to the extent there's access to them and there's a safe place to for this population to get the assistance, help they need, they're not on our streets and they're not impacting the rest of the community. So I get it's a trade-off. It's a significant challenge. But from the city's perspective, we will continue to work with the county and bring back the information to the council as this project develops and move forward. So we will continue to stay on top of it and understand the concerns that are coming.
Thank you. Do we have another comment online?
We do have a couple of comments in chat. From Karen Smith, we have, as a parent of an adult child with a serious mental illness with a substance abuse problem, I support this project. There are no words to describe how hard it is to get help for individuals who, with the right support, can go on to live in the community. Rather, without treatment, they end up homeless, victims of crime, or in jail. Of course, it is understandable that individuals living in the area may be concerned, as the area has a homeless problem. This is part of the solution to homelessness. We also have a comment from Sandra Bautista. In the occasions that I have been in meetings, I have never heard someone agree with the location of this center. Why do you want for this center to be specifically here, even though everyone here in this meeting are in disagreement of this? If everyone here are the people that will be affected, it should be us that should decide if the center should be there or not. And as of now, it looks like all the people here do not like the idea of this center being here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Buenas noches. Yo vivo en Alquimbertsú. Yo quiero hacerles una pregunta.
I just want to ask you guys a question. Good night, everybody.
El condado tiene varios hoteles que están vacíos, que han comprado.
The county has a few hotels that are empty, that are vacant, that they have purchased.
¿Cuántos edificios en la ciudad hay que pertenecen al condado y que se pueden utilizar?
How many buildings are there in the county that could be updated and maybe used?
Los 300 millones que le calculan que se va a utilizar, se puede utilizar muchas cosas.
Those 300 millions that we're calculating that are going to be needed, we could use them for many other things.
Hay mucha gente que vive en la calle, en los ríos y todos esos. ¿Por qué no los sacan de allí y les dan algo donde vivir en lugar de hacer los 300 millones de dólares una facilidad que no tiene caso?
There's many people living in the creeks that are homeless. How come we don't just try to find somewhere else to place them? Maybe one of those buildings.
Tenemos el campo enfrente aquí.
We do have that
del soccer field.
The soccer field across.
Les han dicho a toda esa gente, a todos los padres de familia, que van a poner enfrente, que sus hijos van a ir a jugar cada domingo, todo el ruido que se hace en las noches, los carros, y poniendo todo eso.
Have you guys asked all the parents of those children that play soccer there what you guys are trying to build across the street from them? All that noise, all the cars that are already going by there?
No se acuerden que todas las personas de la ciudad que son los representantes de nosotros solamente quedan por un tiempo. Nosotros tenemos el poder de decidir se van a quedar o los vamos a mandar, como dice, en mi país decimos el 10 de mayo, el día de la madre. Eso les vamos a recordar ese día a todos ustedes que nomás quieren poner cosas en las casas más fáciles. Pero como les digo, cada 4 años hay una nueva persona y eso lo debemos pensar toda la comunidad del área.
And what I could say is that, you know, the people here in the city, we're going to stay here in our city. But then the people that are elected, they only serve for 4 years. So, you know, just like in my hometown, they say, you know, we're going to send them off to Mother's Day. But yeah, we're only going to select them every 4 years. So keep that in mind. There's going to be somebody new that we could elect.
Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you for your comments. Any raised hands on Zoom?
Hi, my name is Gina. I was here at the last meeting. You talk about a park setting. Is that park setting going to be accessible to the public?
Yes, most definitely.
So you're going to have kids go skateboarding through there, all the kids that come out of high school, everybody's going to be walking around this park setting and at the same time being put at risk that somebody might try to get out while the door opens, or when people have visitors, or when they have, or they're out. You tell me the clients are might be getting out and walking around with supposedly somebody. No? They're never going to be out in that park-like setting. So the park-like setting is for us,
The community.
for us to walk around. How many people here are going to want to walk around that park-like setting? Yeah, right, right. And then you talk about reimbursement. You're talking about the main source of your clients are going to be Medi-Cals. How much are you give us an estimate of a length of stay of a person who stays there. How much does Medi-Cal give you for each person who's staying there? Let's say they stay there 3 months. How much money are you going to get those 3 months back from Medi-Cal? Because you know for a fact, Medi-Cal will not give you 100% reimbursement.
So I don't I don't have the exact number of what it would cost to house somebody for 3 months. What we can tell you is that we get reimbursed on average 50% from Medi-Cal.
And who's paying that other
So
50%?
It's a local match, so it's like realignment funding or Mental Health Services Act funding, 91 realignment. Just want to reiterate what Elsa mentioned earlier, that we get close to no contribution from the general fund, so we don't rely on the general fund.
Right.
We fund it ourselves.
Right. So basically taxpayers. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
And in terms of your sort of like average length of stay question, in the RAND study report from 2021, some of the statewide figures on subacute facilities like MHRCs, the average length of stay was 285 days.
And to your point, as we showed in one of the previous slides, we already have clients who we're paying for these services for. And because of the facility that they're at, where they're not 16-bed facilities, we are paying the full cost of that. So there is no Medi-Cal, there's no federal dollars paying for that.
Do you have any private pay patients?
No, yeah, no, I don't. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just real quick, because it's almost 8 o'clock. I just want to say, where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm saying that because someone told me that, what I heard is that these facilities are too far, that parents or family members can't go and visit them. I used to have an aunt that used to have a son in prison in Temecula area, going down that way. And it took about a good 6 hours to drive over there. And each one of us would take time to take her because everybody's busy. So we would take the time if she was feeling really lonely or she really needed to see her son. We'd take her, we'd drive her over there. So I just say, if there's a will, there's a way. So this, I don't want to say this nonsense because maybe it's money or time, whatever, but there is a way to, you can go see your locked up or incarcerated family member. Thank you.
And so I do just want to acknowledge the time and that we're at 8 o'clock. And so we will be stopping for this evening. But I did just want to clarify that, again, the population that would be served in these facilities is not the justice-involved incarcerated person population. This is for the LPS conserved individuals. And again, this is a civil process, not a criminal court process. So I just wanted to make that distinction so folks are clear on that. But I do want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I appreciate everyone being here.
I still would like to make an additional comment, and the gentleman here also wants to make a comment. Okay, but I will. So I would like to let everybody know here, there's a County Board of Supervisor meeting tomorrow as well.
What time is it?
9, okay? Okay, excuse me. There.
It opens,
Thank you.
all the board meetings start at 9. There's closed session. People can make public comment on closed session items. The board returns about 10:30, and then the itemized items come up then. Each item you can make a public comment on as it comes up. General public comment will follow
Can I just, Margaret, is it okay if I just repeat that so the people on Zoom can hear?
Absolutely.
So our Board of Supervisors convenes almost every Tuesday. Tomorrow there is a meeting. It opens up at 9, but they go into closed session. So at 10:30 a.m. is when they open up the public meeting. There's several agenda items. Each item has an opportunity for the public to weigh in. And there is also a general public comment section in the morning. We don't know exactly when it happens, but it could happen anytime between 10:30 and noon or so. So you're invited to participate. If you go onto the County of Monterey website, you can see the Zoom link and also the location to where the meeting is held.
Thanks for that, and thanks, Supervisor Church. So first, I bring out that meeting because I want everybody to know here that there are several stages still yet to come. Every single county board meeting that we're welcome to attend, and whether it's on the agenda, it's not on the agenda, we're able to let the county board know that. So I've made a couple of calls, and I can tell you that we need to put our voices out there, because if they don't hear from us and they're only hearing here, which has not even been announced. So there's only a couple of us in this room because nobody has told us about this. And this is a tragedy. And so this going forward, at this point like this, we can still put a stop to this. I don't agree that this is a done deal. Nothing's ever a done deal. It's only a done deal when you allow it to be a done deal. So if anybody thinks it's a done deal, then you know what, let the rest of us do the work. But this is not a done deal. This is our neighborhood. This is where we live. I would like to ask, after I finish speaking here, I would like to ask the director again, going back to why she waited a year and a half from that meeting in 2024 to even set up a meeting at a place like this, okay? Because she's known this, or your staff, you guys have all known this. Since the time that you did the bait and switch, you've known this, and you were called out by Supervisor Alejo for not informing the public, and a year and a half goes by, and you still didn't inform the public, okay? And so, you've stated that the facilities are not there, so I just sort of see it as one big lemon, as I mentioned last week, because you've already lost some money on this. You're like, well, we got to keep trying. But it's just growing like a behemoth, as was stated, by Mrs. Hernandez. It's just going to keep getting bigger. Funds are being taken away from all sorts of programs, and then we've got an administration that's just done so much damage. These things are not easily funded. I would like to also point out the fencing. I'm sorry, I'm going to disagree that this is a beautiful building. I don't think so. I think it's very institutional looking, and it doesn't fit into this community. And it is. It's exactly that. It's a lockdown facility. And may I finish, Mr. Guerrero? Thank you. And it's a lockdown facility. That's what it is. And so I want you to be aware, too, that there, and it's been said, but we have families here. Think about it. Would you want this in your community? Would you want to be raising your kids, your grandkids in a neighborhood where every day what they're passing by, going in and out of here, is a county jail, a juvenile hall, now a mental health facility, a warming shelter, homeless? People on the other side of town don't put up with this. Actually, they ask you to build parks for them with county money, while we're over here just begging to be seen, to be respected, because there's, as I mentioned last week, the old county board supervisor didn't have any respect for us when it came to even listening to us. It was just, he didn't care. We were out of his sight and out of his mind. I do respect Mr. Church. He took the time to come here. Thank you. That he took the time to come here and be here and listen to us. But this thing, it is not, when you presented this circle of funding, and you put a funding gap of 63, 0.311, and then debt, which let's include that in there, of another 54 and change. And then on top of that, you put pending approval on a 31, million dollar, which is not even approved either. So if we add that, and to all of that, there's a very little amount of money, not to mention the money that's already been expended that isn't covered by any of this bond. You just need to listen to us. And you know what? Thank you for all your efforts and things that you do for people in need. But you have to realize that we're people in need too. You know, if somebody stated here and we kind of laughed, but we weren't laughing at her. We were kind of all laughing loony too, which is, this is insanity for us. This is the holiday. We shouldn't have to be out at meetings like this that we have to spread by word of mouth to each other in order to try to get, and it's not even your decision, right? And so you're presenting it, and this whole printout was presented like, oh, let's all get together and let's make this decision and you're gonna have jobs, as if it's a done deal. It's not a done deal. You know, you have your job to do. This is how you pay your mortgages, but we have mortgages too, okay? And so I say to you, and when it comes to the sheriff, I believe she lives in PG. So does she want this in her backyard? You know, exactly. Those people, it'd be running you out real quick. They do all the time. You know, they ask for parks. We're just asking to be seen, respected, and not treated like nothing. Enough projects are here already. Please let someone else take their share and go and have your town halls in that side of town and listen to them.
Thank you for your comments.
So those board meetings, we all need to be attending them, okay? It's not a done deal, and you all need to be calling your county reps. Email them, call them, pass that around, because this is not a done deal. It's only a done deal if you give up, Mr. Guerra.
I never give up.
Well, then let's not hear that comment.
County supervisor meetings are every Tuesday or every other Tuesday?
Almost every Tuesday.
Let's let Mr. Church answer that.
Mr. Church, go ahead, sir.
It really varies. I mean, you know, it's, I mean, it'll, you know, like, right now, we're coming the holidays. We're not gonna have a meeting until December 9th. It'll probably be a 2-day meeting, 9th and 10th. We come back on January 6th, but then all in January, there's a meeting every, so it just varies.
It varies.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing why I'm asking is Supervisor Church, because I used to be on that mailing list and they took me off.
Which mailing list?
The one where they emailed me where all the meetings were, and I used to go to most of them.
For the board meetings, it
For the
came,
board meetings.
it comes from the clerk of the board? Okay. Well, you can request to get back onto that. I got a newsletter as well. You can request to get on that. It's in every month. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't put the meetings all onto there, but,
Because of you, Lupe, and Yolanda, I'm here. I wouldn't even know about it. You guys post on next door? Yeah.
well, we try to post on social media and, you know, everywhere we can.
That closed session, I do apologize about that.
No, that's, I mean, the meetings start at 9, so that's, you know, technically, but as I say, it goes in a closed session. But if you want to get back on there, you know, you feel free to reach out to my office. We'll get you, so you can get onto the mailing list. Okay? All right, thanks.
Everybody for joining by,
I never did get an answer
Here.
to the question that I asked, which is, why was it waited on
So-
for a year and a half?
So last year, we had a couple of community meetings, our Alisal Integrated Health Center, which is just up the street. And people did not like that we had our meetings there, hence why this round of community meetings, we're holding them here at 1270 Natividad, which is within close proximity. We have presented as well to our Board of Supervisors, the Budget Committee, the Health and Human Services Committee, and this project has been brought up several times at our Behavioral Health Commission meetings, which do
But not
happen on the
everybody goes
evenings.
to those meetings.
Correct, but I'm just letting you know where we've been talking
okay,
about this
uh-huh.
for the last couple of years in terms of the county's proposal to bring MHRCs into our community. So there has been several public meetings, both with our Board of Supervisors, Mental Health Commission or Behavioral Health Commission, and then community meetings last year.
Okay, well, you didn't have any community meetings here. You're proposing that here.
We had them at the Alisal Health Integrated Center, which is just up the street from here, our new behavioral health clinic.
That behavioral health. But you didn't inform the community. It's just like, if you have to know where to look.
With the mailing list you have now, will you email us the next meetings, please?
But you still have to let the whole community know,
And
not
we
just people in this room.
And we can also send you the link to the Board of Supervisors agenda.
add that everything is on our behavioral health website, and we are putting that information there as well as the presentations that we're sharing will also be added to that website.
I have a suggestion. When they take away a crosswalk from our community or anywhere in Minor County, they put a sign up next to the lamppost saying, we're taking away this crosswalk. If you want to object, please come to this meeting. If you could put some posts along that street with a notice saying, we have a proposal for this land, people won't say, because I've walked by that, because I walk to the bus stop at the hospital from Creek Bridge, and I walk there all the time. I always look at it thinking, oh, there's birds and squirrels. I had no idea something like this was going to come up. And the other question I had when listening to the budget is, do facilities like this get sued by the families or next of kin if someone self-harms? So is the budget going to explode if there was negligence on this part? Like if someone was sleeping and we have video of a guard who should be awake when they're sleeping, and now the family says, my child would be alive today if that county employee was awake. Are there records of how these facilities get sued and how much they have to pay out for settlements or lawsuits?
Wait, we don't have that info.
And is that part of the budget? Are you figuring out how much, because those things could happen for people who are mentally in law control.
I'm curious, when you do the notifications, I know when they did our H2A building in Montebella, it was 300 feet. There was no homes 300 feet.
Can you
Oh,
just want to make sure people online can hear?
definitely. Jose Guerra, Montebella community. I'm just curious, when we had our H2A building built in the Montebella off Schaumburg Parkway, we had I guess the law is 300 feet from where the building be built. Nobody lives there. There's a school, and that's not even 300 feet. And then there's, the first house has got to be at least 700, 800, maybe 900 feet. So when they did that, be careful, guys. When they're going to post that, they're going to be, I don't want to say this, but malicious. And they're going to do stuff like that because that's the law. So know the law and beware and try to get more information. They did that to us. Just want to let you know.
So
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we did do mailers out to the community within the 300 feet. We did also do some door-to-doors within
It's a little bit over 100 feet.
100 feet or a little
Yeah,
bit more than
you know
that
what?
on the streets.
I believe you, but they told us the same thing, and I asked everybody. Nobody got a mailer.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody got anything. You know how we found out? Somebody actually walked their dog to one of the light posts next to the school, and they actually taped it on there. And I was like, are you kidding me? And when I found out, I was like, wow. And believe me, I hate being political. I hate giving my opinion. The reason why I do is because I'm tired of being sandbagged.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being
Thank you,
here
ma'am.
tonight. Thank you for speaking up and letting us hear from you. Really appreciate everyone coming out. Have a safe travel home, and good night.
So tell me, how far does 300 feet go? It goes to the jail? It goes to the soccer field, right? 300 feet, says nobody.